Howdy, howdy. Well, today I'm going to talk to you about real estate professionals and investors and how these two groups don't communicate and how they have a hard time with each other. And the reason for that is because realtors, or not realtors themselves, real estate professionals, I should say, um, in general, when they go through school, they just learn the basics, and when it comes to purchases, they just learn the standard and very little bit of it as well, not just enough to transfer people to a lender. And pretty much it's a standard way of disposing, purchasing a property, or if they're going to sell it, pretty standard scenarios where it's not complicated. And these subjects are not taught at the boards, real estate boards. They're not taught in real estate, really. So if you, for realtors or real estate agents who know about it, is because they have gone to meetups, they have educated themselves for the groups who do investing to understand them, and that's how they know how to navigate or know the lingo or the way investors move. Now, investors assume real estate professionals don't know anything, but the truth is they don't know anything when it comes to how investors operate. And if an investor talks to a real estate professional, the real estate professional is going to be horrified because they think it's illegal or immoral or it cannot be done because they just don't know. And the handicap with the investors is that they is creative financing where they get complicated situations to take over the house or purchase the house, and it's a fine line of getting in trouble with the law because they don't know real estate law. Not and so they assume it can be done, and then you have the real estate agents who say it cannot be done. Now, truly, there's a lot of ignorance when it comes to the investors, and they get in trouble and you don't hear about it and they end up in jail. Okay. However, there's a lot of successful investors who have a team of people who work with them, including the real estate professionals. They have their pretty much attorneys to when it comes to acquiring properties or and for the disposition of properties. That's usually when they use our services or when they need comparables. So real estate professionals who have relations with investors as clients have educated themselves, gone to meetups, learned from investors, and educate themselves with attorneys, because it's a fine line of getting in trouble. But it is a difference. The real estate is beautiful in the sense that it is beautiful to see it from both ends, because they serve a purpose, a very important purpose, that as a real estate industry, if it's not clean and if it is not ready to go, they cannot be helped. There's a lot of people who cannot be helped because they're in a bad situation. They are underwater in the property, or they have just nasty situations and they cannot get rid of the properties and they cannot sell it in the standard market, and people cannot buy them because they cannot. The banks will not sponsor or those type of the loans. So they serve the purpose of moving properties, in cleaning the mess, setting it up for regular people to come and buy the properties in the mainstream market. And so if you want to, so they both are correct and they're both wrong at the same time. Real estate agents, if they want to deal with investors, how to educate themselves, and look for it and be open-minded and educate themselves and have a good attorney on their side to educate them as to what is the borderlines, okay, that you cannot cross. And investors, well, they don't have to really get to know how you operate, but if they want to do business with agents, then they have to know what is the agents are willing to do or can do, or what they're not able to do. And those agents who are able to understand how the strategies they use in the way they go into properties are able to work really well with investors. It's a very lucrative and very fulfilling relationship. I myself, when I first started with investors, I was horrified. I was horrified to hear how they were planning to do acquisitions, and I was like, oh my god, you can't do that. But then I educated myself because I like learning, and it was and then I verify and saw, okay, this is could be legal, might sometimes not moral, or because they feel like some people feel that they're taking advantage of people, but not really. People are already in a bad predicament, and that's why attorneys come in to help clean that mess and make it fair for both parties. So, well, that's the take I have. I hear a lot of people online, they badmouth the realtors and they say things, horrible things about real estate agents that they don't know. And they're not wrong in that sense. And I hear horrible things about investors, and they're not wrong either, because they are. Some of them are horrible. But everybody gets the law behind them. If they mess up, eventually you're gonna get sued and you're gonna end up in jail. And there's a lot of them. And the worst is when they come out of jail, they come out smarter than when they went in, because they learned from other people and they tried to do it again. Anyhow, well, that is a moral situation that doesn't concern me. I'm just saying what I have seen and what I know to be a fact for me. In my experience of seeing this and knowing that I do work with investors and I like them, and then I like the speed of things too, because investors you have to be quick, because those opportunities they're there for the people who take them quickly. And sometimes realtors or real estate agents are slow, and they're too slow because they're used to the 30 days, 40-day closings, where you don't have, when we do cash, it could be a week. It could be as 2 weeks. We close quick. We don't have all those things. We don't have, the inspections are done just to know what they're getting into. Sometimes there's no inspection. Sometimes they buy in without looking. They take a lot of risk because you don't know they're running into. And so it's really fast. It's for people who have a lot of, they have to be quick. They have to be fast on research. They have to know, pretty much be ready to go and what needs to be done, and to be able to close, and to be able to be on top of everything that needs to happen for these investors, for their strategies to be achieved, which they could be rentals or could be disposing of the properties. Anyway, my advice is for the real estate agents who want to be working with investors to go into one of those meetups and educate yourself. Get yourself a good lawyer to consult with on what you have doubts. It's really important. Don't be cheap when the lawyers are worth their money in gold, because it saves you from going to jail. And for the investors, I would suggest, well, the same thing. If you want to start doing investing, you don't have to know what real estate agents do, but you do have to know there are limits and what the law states that we are able to do and not to do. And so you don't get disappointed and you don't go around saying, oh, they don't know anything. You have to educate yourself too, to what is legal and what we're able to do and what we're not able to do. And so it's a good relationship if you're able to speak their language. They don't have to, the investors don't have to speak real estate in a sense, but real estate agents do have to learn to have the vocabulary they use, and how they operate. It's super important. So, I try to refrain myself from giving my opinion when I hear people bad mouthing real estate agents who worked really hard because they want to do it right. They were ethical people. They want to help people, and that's why they get into the business. And of course, the money. But it's really breaks my heart to hear some people who don't. They just have the courage and the money, and very little. And they hear from a guy who heard it from a guy, and they go do it. But the other person who's educated gets to be told that they're losers, that they don't know what they're doing. No, no, no. It doesn't work that way. It's and then there's investors and there are investors. There's investors who are educated. They know your job and they know their job, and they have education too. And then they're the adventurers and the scammers. So you have to know who you have to know enough to know who you're working with. Anyway, that was my speech for today, and my point of view on investors and realtors. Something very important that realtors could benefit from if you learn to speak and to know how investors operate. I hope this has helped you. Till next time.